Hi everybody, it's me, Tim. I want to talk to you today about Arcanum lore exploration. What I mean by that is kind of a deep dive into some of the Arcanum lore that interests me. Now, I did a video already on the sequel to Arcanum called Journey to the Ascent of Arcanum, and there's a video about it. I'll link it below. And in that, there was this idea for combining magic and tech. There was an ore that lets you make technological items that you could magically imbue. And I didn't like it then, and now 25 years later, I absolutely hate the idea. And the reason for that is I think it takes a fundamental pillar of the Arcanum setting, which is magic and tech are diametrically opposed. Not because they don't like each other, not because they don't get along and you need to find, a substrate to get them, happy to be together. It's because they work diametrically oppositely. Magic is you using your will to temporarily suppress physical law and say, I just want fire to appear from nothing. I want electricity to flow between 2 points of equal potential. I want to be somewhere else right now. Or, see that dead guy? I'm going to restart his body and grab his soul from wherever it is and rip it and pull it right back in that body. These are all things that, tech can't do. So, tech, on the other hand, works with physical law. And if you want to make electricity jump somewhere, you got to generate a really high potential at the launch point, and then it will jump to the lower potential point. And all we said was doing that with a technological item reinforces those laws, which make it harder to do magic. And then vice versa. The more you break physical law, the bendier they remain. I liked that. I thought it was a fundamental pillar of the Arcanum setting. And if you remember how I go things, I always do setting first, and then story, and then mechanics. Mechanics are subservient to setting. But I realized I just didn't want to talk about what I hated, because I have a whole video about being constructive. It's linked below. So I want to be constructive here. So what do I want? Well, I did talk about system extensions I wanted, system mechanics that I wanted to change. There's a video about it below, the Arcanum 2 system extensions. But that's, again, not what I want to talk to. I want to do a deep dive into lore. I want to talk about lore. Because there were 3 areas of lore in Arcanum that I really, really liked and like to think about. And I want to talk about here. These are the things I would want to get into. I'd want to chew at them and see what would get revealed if there was a game that went harder and deeper into these areas. Let's start with magic. I really thought magic in Arcanum was special, and not just because of the whole you suppress physical law and boom, you get to do what you want. Although I thought that was an interesting explanation of why magic existed and how magic worked. I also, though, I know this was brought up in lore, but I don't exactly remember how we conveyed it, but magic went in cycles. You were told magic went up and down, naturally. This idea of cycles, it's straight out of Robert E. Howard's Hyborian Age, which is part of Conan. Magic would come and go. It would get stronger and then would get weaker. Now, we were in a period where magic was getting weaker. It was one of the reasons tech was being explored again. Because when magic is really strong and you can do everything with magic and you can do amazing things with magic, why do you need tech? You don't need it. There's no pressure to develop tech. But as magic was going down and certain spells weren't working anymore, people were like, maybe we can do tech. And then once they start doing tech, that's when they realize the advantage of tech is once you make a gun, anybody can use it. Where magic requires a sort of affinity to it and spells have to be learned and all this. Not true for tech. Like, you can pick up a gun, you won't be that skilled with it, but you can shoot it. So in the lore for Arcanum, we hinted that there used to be spells above level 5. Every college in Arcanum of spells only had spells 1 through 5. We implied that there were spell levels past 5, level 6, level 7. What are these? One of the things I would like to do is let the player learn more about those spells. Search for them. Maybe even find one. Maybe you find a level 6 spell. What would it do? If you look, the spells all get more and more impressive as you go down each college. What would a level 6 spell do? Something amazing. We already can raise dead and teleport. What could a level 6 spell do? But even if you find it, you probably can't cast it because it isn't the world doesn't support it anymore. Magic is cycled down. But maybe maybe you could cast it if you found a place that still had magic lingering in it. And by that, because we know how magic works, it has to be somewhere really far away from tech. Like someplace that has never had a mine, has never had a steam engine, has never had a railroad track laid down nearby. Something far away from tech, and maybe, just maybe, you can still cast that level 6 spell. That would be a neat thing to try. It also would explain why wizards always tuck away in remote wizard towers, because they're trying to stay away from all this tech so they can still use their more powerful spells. Now, keep in mind that this makes me also want to explore tech, and that's my second thing I'd explore, because we talked about how tech can't do everything. Part of the lore of Arcanum was there are things that magic can do by suppressing natural law that tech, working with physical law, literally can never do. Resurrection was one of them. Teleport was one of them. You just can't do that. But just like in real life, I think those technologists are always going to be pushing the boundaries to see just how far they can go, how close they can get to something they see magically happening. So, like maybe pure teleportation is out, but maybe they can speed up transport so it doesn't matter. Maybe they can make faster trains or than we had in the game, and faster planes, because you saw those planes at the beginning that the orcs were flying and shooting at the blimp. Maybe we can get something faster than them. The blimp was slow and those planes were faster, but you find out those planes were like some one-off constructions. Maybe they can make better ones. Maybe they make jet planes. Maybe they can figure out how to make bullet trains, and then they start to learn that, well, when you make a train too fast, air is actually slowing you down, so they start making vacuumed tunnels. So they start digging tunnels between major cities and evacuating the air so they can have bullet trains in them. This would be interesting. Maybe, just maybe, someone says, well, I can make a kind of teleporter device. I can't actually teleport you, but I could scan you and reconstruct a copy of you. And we've all heard that about the scary thing about teleportation. And what if it's a copier that destroys the original and creates a copy? And then the copy thinks it's you, but it's not really you. Oh, the gray morality we could explore if a technologist in the Arcanum world made a teleporter that worked that way. And then, of course, what if it didn't destroy the original? I mean, there's just too much stuff to explore there. But if we continue, I mean, we said you couldn't resurrect people. What if technologists were trying? They were reanimating corpses, and we kind of explored that a little bit in Arcanum, but what if they were like Frankenstein creatures showing up? You know, it was becoming more and more common that technology was learning, using electricity and medicine, how to reanimate a corpse. Well, how would a soul be related to that? Would they ever figure out how to reanimate a corpse and have the soul come back? What if it was a different soul? What if it was completely soulless? These are interesting questions. In fact, that makes you go, how do souls even respond to tech? The Vendigroth device was described as, ripping the life force out of an opponent. Is that tech affecting souls directly? Don't know. But that brings me to the third thing I want to talk about, which is the void, which is apparently where all of our souls go when we die. Well, we had a video. I did a video that explains why we had the void in the first game, which was mainly to explain roughly what it was, and it's where souls go, and we also banish people there, which means you could be there physically and not just your soul. So that made me go, what else is there about the void? What is stuff we don't know about it? First one would be, what other relationship is there between the tech and the void? If we have already a known tech device, the Vendigroth device, that affects life forces, what else is there that tech could do? Could tech connect to the void? Could tech manipulate the void? Could tech manipulate a soul? Don't know. This is stuff I'd love to explore. Also, there's going to be a technologist out there that pushes the boundary too far and goes beyond what we were meant to know. But also, just physically, in the void, what else is there? Kurgan found a whole bunch of things there. And when you go there, you can find things there. There are ruins. Who left those ruins? There are creatures that live in the void that were coming out of that weird gate that was down near Franklin Payne's house. Those jellyfish-like things. There's life forms in the void that don't originate here. They originate there. Do they have souls? When they die, where do their souls go? Is there a void for the void? Or are they soulless? Also, that whole sea of souls that Kurgan found, which is where souls go to die, is what he said. When souls finally stop being angry and wandering around and lamenting their previous life, and they walk into that ocean and sink and die. Is there anything past that? Is there anything at the bottom of that ocean? Is there any land beyond that ocean? That would be interesting to explore. What would be in an area past where souls go to die? I think these are all really interesting questions and things I would love to know more about. And I think it's way more interesting than saying, hey, we have this ore that can combine magic and tech, which, by the way, violates everything we told you, so meh. Instead, this is more my what if stuff, which is I've established some things for you. I'm not going to break any of those rules, but I'm going to push against them. I'm going to say, what if this? What if this wasn't exactly right? What if, because of these things we know, doesn't it imply this other thing? That's what I'd like to explore. And those are the three main areas. I want to know about older magic and higher level magic. I want to know what tech could do, how far tech could be pushed. And I'd want to know what else was in the void and how you might be able to use it. Anyway, that's the exploration of Arcanum lore that I would love to do in a sequel.